Chilly in here this morning. Nobody on Zoom list?
Particular, how to find that. Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. Yes, pardon me.
Ready? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, September 24th. It is approximately 12 p.m., and I call the Finance and Audit Committee meeting to order. Go with agenda item number 2, roll call. Jorge Delgado, present. Esteban Rangel, absent. Karina Elizondo, absent. Tita Vela, absent. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, the August 2024 preliminary financial report. Mr. Cesar Vela.
Good afternoon, Cesar Vela, VP of Finance and Administration for the record. Today we'll give you a presentation on the preliminary August 2024 financial report. We're in the process of closing out the fiscal year. We should be completed with the audit by the first or second week of December. So quickly, just to go over the operating revenues for the year. The total revenues for fiscal year 2024 totaled 82,875,979. That's 115% of what we had budgeted. So we had an excess amount of almost $11 million in revenue. And this is primarily coming from a couple of line items or areas. One is tuition and fee revenue. We exceeded our projections by 5.1 million. We also had the 4.4 million of additional state appropriation revenue. And then we exceeded our projections in the interest revenue by 1.5 million. So again, we had budgeted 71.9 million for the year. Revenue came in at 82,875,979 for 2024. Again, the items that made up that increase were, again, tuition and fee revenue, state appropriation revenue, and the excess interest revenue for the year. As far as expenditures, the total expenditures for the year total 64,632,139. That's 89.80% of our budgeted expenditures. We currently have 7.3 million in savings. We do have some adjustments that need to be made to close out the books. So we're currently working on that. Again, that process will take us about a couple of months once the audit is completed. So the 7.3 million should be dropping because we do have some expenditures that we need to record. One of those is the end of year recognition of the college's share in the pension plan, and also the college's share in the other post benefit plan that we currently participate with both TRS and ERS. So there'll be an adjustment to record the college's contribution to the plan. We're also pending to record the uncollectible accounts expense. We currently have 300,000 budgeted for that. Um, we're going through the calculations as we close out the books. And also, we also need to recognize some of the liabilities at year end, primarily in some of the benefit line items. So again, the 7.3 million that we're seeing right now in savings, that number should be dropping in the next couple of months. As far as the other funds, the Global Logistics Center, the state appropriation was 141,164. We received 100% of that. In addition, there was about $2,000 in revenue generated by the center. The expenses for the year totaled 81,489. So we're seeing a net increase to the fund balance in the Global Logistics Center of 61,675. As far as auxiliary services, we had revenues of 1.9 million, expenditures of 1.7, for a net increase to the fund balance of 163,620. Restricted funds, the total for the year was 30,750,948. The bulk of that revenue and expenses were made up by the federal funds, federal grants, primarily the Pell Grant. For that, we recorded for the year 22,293,629. In addition to that, we recognized 2.4 million in state aid. And out of that 2.4, we had 2.1 from the TOG grant, and 37 for 1,000 for the the state work study fund.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Chair recognizes Dr. Ramirez.
And just to be clear, all of these funds that are for the revenue and the things that are coming in from the state funding, they're kind of pass-throughs because we get them from the state or the federal government, and then we have to spend them on what they tell us to spend it. And then it goes straight to either directly to students or directly to support the program itself. For example, the Global Logistics Center, that's a budgeted item in the state budget specifically for that, and those funds cannot be used for anything else. The same with Pell and TOG and SEOG. Those funds are, the reason we're getting them is because it belongs directly to particular students, and therefore we're just a pass-through. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez.
For the facilities master plan at the end of the 2024 fiscal year, we currently have a balance of 4,172,540. Again, all of these funds are already allocated to the current projects that we're currently working on. Again, for the year, we recorded 9.3 million in expenses. We recognize approximately 640,000 in interest revenue. So again, for the year, the balance for the facilities master plan phase 3 projects stands at 4,172,540. For tax collections, and this is as of August 31st. I do apologize on the wrong date there. Collections totaled 45,024,999. That's 97.97% of our tax levy. Last year we were at 97.94. So again, we're pretty much in line to what we collected last year. We do have a balance remaining of $933,564.84 for the year. Again, this is now in line with the collection rate that we had projected for the year. And again, this had to do with an adjustment that was done on our side, on our books, and that was just on the calculation of the tax levy, on how we had calculated the tax levy for the frozen taxable accounts. So again, at this point, we are at 97.97% of our tax collection rate for the year. The investments as of July 31st, we had bank deposits of 103,836,497. The investment pools totaled 20,774,247 for total investments and deposits of 124,610,744. As of July 31st, the yields were 4.40 on the bank deposits. The investment pools were yielding 5.44 and 5.43. On August the 1st, we did or invested on some CDs, and those will be reflected in the next quarterly investment report, as well as the annual investment report. We are in the process of looking at moving additional funds into some CD accounts. And this is to try to minimize the impact on the recent reduction in rates. So the Feds did reduce the interest rates by 50 basis points. So we are going to see the interest rates go down. So we're trying to minimize the impact on our investments by moving some of those funds into some CDs that are currently yielding a little bit higher than the bank deposits. And the last item that we have is the preliminary fund balance. So for the fiscal year, we began the year with a fund balance of 5.5 million. We had revenues of 82.8 million. So far, expenses of 64,632,000. We did transfer out 1.6 million to the deferred maintenance funds for a net change of 16,561,225. So right now, the preliminary fund balance stands at 22,073,757. Like I mentioned, there are some adjustments that need to be made primarily on the expense side. The GASB 68, GASB 75 adjustments need to be finalized. In addition, we do need to record a couple of liabilities that will be pending as of August 31st. So right now, at 22 million, we currently have 27% of this year's operating budget in reserve. So this meets with the board's requirement of the maintaining a 20% in reserve. Any questions, sir, on any of the items? Sure.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vela. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, approval to extend bank depository contract. Mr. Vela?
Yes, this next item is we're asking that the board approve a two-year contract extension with Falcon International Bank of Commerce for bank depository services. The current contract expires on September 30th of this year. The original contract was for 2 years with the option to renew for an additional 2-year terms. This renewal will be the last renewal available under the current contract. After this renewal, we will need to be going out for a request for proposals. The bank is currently just on your board packet. You see the
Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Vela. Chair recognizes Ms. Elizondo as present.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
The bank is offering the following options regarding the interest rates. They're offering the higher of the following, a fixed rate option of 2% or a variable rate option. The variable rate option is calculated using the 91-day U.S. Treasury bill rate less 89 basis points. Currently, as of September 3rd, that rate would be at 4.09%. So right now, it's either the higher of the 2% or the 4.9%. As far as fees,
Sorry, you
again,
said the higher of the two?
the higher of the two.
Nice.
As far as fees, will continue to maintain their no fee structure. Again, this extension would run from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th of 2026. At that point, once this extension is exercised at the end of this term, we would need to go for a request for proposals.
All right. Any questions for a member of the committee? All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 5. Thank you, Mr. Vela.
Thank you.
We'll move on to agenda item number 5, approval of acquisitions of cereals and periodical services from EBSCO Information Services. Mr. Vela?
Yes, board members, this next item is we're asking for approval for the acquisition of cereals and periodicals from EBSCO Information Services. Currently, we're asking for, to be able to issue out, an open purchase order in the amount not to exceed 153,000. And this is basically to, purchase materials for the, libraries, both here at the main and the south campus. And some of these materials include digital magazines, subscriptions, ebooks, and, some printed material also. Again, it's to set up an open purchase order, and this would be to cover the materials or the needed for both libraries for the 2025 fiscal year.
When was the last time we did this type of purchase? Do you know?
We do it annually, sir.
Annually,
So
okay.
it's an item that's budgeted annually by the bookstore. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, by the library.
Do you know how much we spent last year by any chance?
It was 150,000,
Okay.
the request.
And most of our periodicals, most of a lot of the academic work is done electronically, so the students have the capacity to go in and do their research on electronically.
Mhm.
And so they can get into that electronic library as well to do that work. Now that we're offering bachelor's degrees and as we expand more bachelor's degrees, we have to provide these services electronically to our students. So just to cap that off there.
Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vela. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, approval for a 5-year service agreement with Train for HVAC water treatment services. Mr. Vela?
Yes, board members, we're asking that the board approve a 5-year agreement with Train, and this is for the water treatment services at the South Campus. We're currently in the last year of the current agreement. Again, this is to provide the chill water treatment services for the South Campus, and includes both the open loop system, the closed loop systems. This is a monthly service. The contract is under by board contract number 731-20. The services or the payment for the services are budgeted in the 2025 fiscal year under the physical plant contracted services line item. Again, the amount for 2025 would be $19,092, and this would be a fixed amount for the 5-year period. The contract would run from September 1st, 2025 through August 31st of 2029.
Any questions? All right. We'll move on to agenda item number 7. Thank you, Mr. Vela. We'll move on to agenda item number 7, approval of main campus surveillance system update. Mr. Vela?
Yes, board members, I'm gonna defer the following items to Mr. Chavez. He'll go over item 7 through 11, which are all the IT related items.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Finance and Audit Committee. For the record, Albert Chavez, Associate VP of Information Technology. For this item, this afternoon, we're asking that the board approve The purchase of equipment for the main campus surveillance system upgrade in the amount of 410,600. The equipment and installation services for this project will be procured through the vendor Computer Solutions using contract Omnia Gray Bar EV 2370.
What was the
Uh,
total amount? I'm sorry.
410,000,
600.
Thank you.
The surveillance system update for the main campus will include a new video recording system, cameras to replace any devices that have reached end of life and need to be replaced. The new system brings artificial intelligence capabilities that will improve notification of any activity and searching of videos for the police department. This will allow the department to search through video footage in a much more quicker and efficient method. And the system is capable of storing 30 days of continuous recordings for all main campus cameras.
Is this adding in additional cameras on the campus by any chance?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. This particular item includes 242 cameras and 5 servers that'll total 100. That'll have a total of 488 terabytes for storage.
Jeez.
And this item was requested and approved to through the fiscal year 2025 equipment purchases.
Is
Yeah.
the 242 cameras, is that both for the Fort Mac and South Campus, or?
This is just for the main campus only.
Main campus only.
So for the next fiscal year, we'll request a new system for the South Campus. The South Campus recently received, as part of the bond projects, new cameras.
Okay,
So it would be just a matter of updating the servers and software to record those cameras.
very
But
nice.
that'll come as a budget request for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
And this item again was approved in the fiscal 2025 equipment purchases for the technology department.
Perfect. Any questions from members of the committee?
No?
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Chavez. We'll move on to the agenda item number 8, approval to purchase battery backup units for campus network closets.
Good afternoon. For this particular item, we're requesting again approval to purchase replacement battery backup units for the campus network closets. The total amount for this request is 80,093. The equipment will be procured through the reseller Computer Solutions using a TIPS contract 230105. The existing backup units at both the main and the south campus have reached their end of life and need to be replaced. These devices provide battery backup and protection to the networking equipment to protect it against power loss, surges, spikes in electricity surges, or if when there's thunderstorm and we have fluctuation of power.
Nice. How many units are we replacing?
This would be a total of 50 units.
What are we doing with the, well, I guess since they're end of life, we're recycling them?
All those units have an expected lifetime before they start going bad, so the expected lifetime for those battery units is 10 years.
10.
So you could still, just like anything, run them a little longer than that, but you run the risk of failure.
But we're recycling the ones that were,
Those will be sent to the warehouse, and the warehouse team will dispose of them,
gotcha. Okay.
whether it's reselling them or recycling.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? All right, thank you, Mr. Chavez. We'll move on to agenda item number 9, approval to purchase computer refresh equipment for law enforcement academy labs. Mr. Chavez?
Good afternoon. For this item, we're requesting approval to purchase computers for the Law Enforcement Academy labs. This purchase will be done through Dell in the amount of 81,618 with 60 cents using a DIR contract TX DIR-TSO 3763. The Law Enforcement Academy currently has 3 computer labs that are used for testing. The existing computers have reached end of life and need to be replaced. So we're requesting, as part of our computer refresh budget, to be able to purchase these computers because they are needed urgently, so the academy can continue testing their testing services for cadets.
Is this
Uh,
part of the approval that was done back in August for computers, or was that just for the Fort
It's-
McIntosh campus?
It's part of every year we request a budget
Mhm.
for computer refresh. We're
Mhm.
doing this one separately because of the urgency for that
Okay.
lab. Typically, we do the refresh in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
but the director for the academy reached out stating that they were having
Mhm.
some issues and requested if we could replace the machines earlier.
And how many computers are there?
The total computers are 84, and it's total, he has 3 labs in the facility.
Gotcha.
And if I may add,
Chair recognizes Dr. Ramirez.
as you all know, we're upgrading and doing some construction work in the police academy that's almost completed.
Mhm.
We're finishing up some restrooms in there. There'll be a report on that tomorrow at the construction meeting. But this goes along with the new desks that we're putting into the lab and the new fixtures, so it'll all be in line. Now, all of our computers, as we're replacing them, are going on depending on the lab, a 3 to 5 year refresh.
Mhm.
And that is all being done electronically. They have a way to track that. Some labs need to be replaced every 3 years. Other labs can go as far as 5 years. And so all of that is on a rotation.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. Any questions from members of the committee? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 10, approval Texas DIR Telecom Services Annual Renewal. Mr. Chavez?
Good afternoon. For this particular item, we're requesting approval to renew our annual services for internet and telecom through the Texas Department of Information Resources. Basically, what we do is we create a standing purchase order to pay the monthly bills that we receive from them. For this particular service, the calculation for the year is $167,889.60. And I did include a breakdown as part of the attachments. So basically, this will cover the telecommunication services for the main and the south campus. These are using Texas DIR negotiated rates. And we have circuits from AT&T, CenturyLink, and Spectrum included in this agreement. And this will also cover our point-to-point connection that we use to uplink the south campus to the main campus to go out to the internet.
Any questions from members of the committee? All right.
No,
What was it for fiscal year for last year?
The same amount.
Same amount? Okay, so it hasn't changed.
It's a negotiated rate that the state of Texas works out with the providers, AT&T, Spectrum, CenturyLink, and so forth.
Do we get credit when there's outages?
Good question. I wish. I know there was one past Friday for Spectrum. It lasted several hours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chavez. We'll move on to agenda item number 11, approval of annual Texas Connection Consortium maintenance invoices. Mr. Chavez?
Good afternoon. For this particular item, it's a combined invoices. So for this particular item, we're requesting that the board approve a payment for invoices to the Texas Connection Consortium for Lucian banner services in the amount of $1,023,409.99 And let me explain the invoices. So in the past year, the TCC contract administration was moved from Texas A&M Corpus Christi to Lamar Institute of Technology. I came before you in the month of July to get approval on a similar invoice that was supposed to have been received in September of last year. So now we did receive our invoice for this September that'll run from September 1 to 2024 to August 31st of 2025. And that is in the total $655,657.29. That's our regular renewal for our SaaS services on an annual basis. Now, the other 3 invoices that are also noted on the agenda and attached are in the first invoice in the amount of $75,510.95. After they conducted an audit, they noticed the new school that's managing the contract noticed that Texas A&M Corpus Christi had not billed us for several services. So the first one is the ILP service that we use to communicate between Banner and the Canvas environment for online learning. And the second one, which totals $120,037.25, is for on-premise licensing that we currently owe to Lucian. And the third one is for the same thing, licensing. The details are on the statements. We did verify with their accounting department, and we do owe these services. We did take some time to get this process because we were working again with Lamar Institute of Technology to verify that we truly owed this amount of money. And it was confirmed that yes, we're not the only school that's receiving these invoices. And it's
many other
because as their
schools are-
transition, I'm sorry?
How many other schools are going through the same issue?
I don't recall the number of schools in the Texas Connection Consortium, but basically TCC or Texas Connection Consortium is a group that manages the licensing for the Texas public
Mhm.
schools, colleges and universities. And they have pre-negotiated rates for us. And that school, they usually select the school, and Texas A&M Corpus Christi had been the billing partner for many, many years. They had some leadership changes on their side, so they decided that they didn't want to pursue this particular service. As a matter of fact, you'll notice on the invoices there's actually a surcharge fee. So the
Mhm.
school that's processing these invoices is also receiving a percentage. So in their audit, when Lamar Institute of Technology took over, reviewed all contracts, and they even presented to us the evidence as to why we
What-
owed this, and we reviewed prior invoices and came to the conclusion that it is correct. that
How
we
much
owed-
longer is Texas A&M Corpus Christi handling these invoices?
They're done. So
they're
Lamar Institute of Technology took over about 6 months ago.
Okay. Perfect. Any questions from members of the committee? Okay. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 12, approval for a 3-year subscription to Pyramed 5 patient web portal. Mr. Cesar Vela?
Yes. Board members, this next item is to request approval for a 3-year subscription to the Pyramed 5 patient web portal in the amount of $55,635.61. The subscription agreement may be extended an additional 2 years. This particular solution is an item or a piece of software that will be utilized by the Student Health Services Office. This is just to manage scheduling, also to maintain electronic health records, and keep track and compliance of immunization of our students. As far as for the students, this solution will provide access to online scheduling for services. Also, they'll be able to fill out their any medical forms online. And also, there is a feature where the Student Health Services Office will be able to communicate via secure messaging with those students requesting services. Again, the total for the 3 years is $55,635.61. We went out for quotes. We got 3 vendors that replied. You do have a copy of the tabulation included in your board packet. So this agreement would run from 2025 through 2027. And again, the $23,036.59 are currently budgeted in the 2025 contracted services for Student Health Services
Okay.
Office.
If I may.
Chair recognizes Dr. Ramirez.
Thank you, sir. Yes, and so the big issue is the tracking and compliance of our bacterial meningitis. And then secondly, for us to be able to offer our students online supports, medical support services and actually get them scheduled for a visit at either campus now that we have student health and wellness services at both campuses. And so we'll be able to even track, we can't, but they
The
can.
system.
And this precludes us from any HIPAA issues
Violation.
or FERPA issues. And so this is a huge step forward for us in providing our students with better health support services all the way around.
Perfect. All right. Any questions from members of the committee? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vela. Thank you, Dr. Ramirez. For agenda item number 13, approval of a 3-year agreement with Illusion for Technology Management Services. I believe this item is going to be deferred to the full board meeting on Thursday.
Mhm.
Okay. Ms. Elizondo, are you okay with that? Okay,
Yes, thank you.
all right. Thank you very much. Agenda item 14, adjournment, is approximately 12:34, and we are adjourned for the Finance and Audit Committee meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
you.